Welcome to another Suburban Somm video. I am Scott, and today we're going to be talking about what temperature you should be serving your wines. Now, if you're new to wine, you probably have no idea. Hot, cold, what? And then as you get into it, you probably know enough that, okay, white wines in the fridge, red wines, room temperature. Well, that's not so simple either. Room temperature is kind of a loose term. Room temperature back in the days of castles and before central air might have been a lot of different things. It might have been very cold, it might have been very hot. Now, typically people's houses are, 72 degrees, whatever. You're not necessarily going to want to go by that rule of thumb. So, generally though, it is true. Your white wines are going to want to be colder. The coldest ones, you're going to say sparkling wines and rosés. Those you can have all the way down to the upper 30 degrees, low 40s. That's about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. Then you're going to get up to your Sauvignon Blancs and your Chardonnays, low 40s, 5, 6 degrees Celsius. And then once you start to get to your reds, you're going to want to be in the 60s there. And here's why. You'll hear a common term, you'll hear people say, all right, we're drinking our reds too warm, our whites too cold. And you're like, how can that be? Well, a white, let's put it this way. If you're drinking a white right out of the fridge, what's going to happen to your taste buds? It's going to almost numb those, and you're not going to really taste everything that you can out of that. Let's say it's a Chardonnay. One way to check that out is you take a Chardonnay out of the fridge, you pour it in your glass, you take a drink, you take it outside on a summer day, and you watch that bottle, you start to sweat and it's starting to warm up. After it gets a few degrees warmer, you take another drink of it and you're going to notice all kind of flavors and how it changed just by those few degrees of temperature up. Same thing with a red, especially a big Syrah with a lot of alcohol. If you drink that at 70 something degrees Fahrenheit, that is going to be, it might even burn going down your throat. It's going to deaden your palate because it's going to overpower it with alcohol and tannins. You chill that just a little bit, you get that down to 60 degree range, 65 degrees, which is about 16, 17 degrees Celsius. It's going to kind of loosen the edge a little bit and allow your palate to enjoy some of the other flavors in these reds. So, you might ask, well, what do I do if I just have a simple refrigerator? If that's the case, you put your whites in there, you take them out a few minutes before serving. If you want reds a little chilled, you put those in for just maybe say 10-15 minutes to get them chilled, pull those out. But if you're able to, you can invest in a wine chiller, which is what we have down here. So let's go down and take a look. Now I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this. The good news is that it does what it's supposed to do. It chills my wine. It also, as you'll see, is dual zone. So I can set one side colder, one side warmer if I want, which is what I've done. You'll see this side's 40 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit, and this one, some of the displays are off. This is not 57 Celsius. This is 57 and it's supposed to be Fahrenheit. So that's one of the things I don't like. These little things went out. It was like 6 months after I got it. Also, this is supposed to have a cool glowing blue light. Supposed to hit this light bulb. Used to work, now it doesn't. Not a huge deal, but it is what it is. Now as you see, as you open this thing up, it has room for tons of racks. I've taken the last level of racks out so that I can stand some bottles vertically. You'll see I have a champagne here in the bottom of this one. Another thing that I don't like is these racks, the spacing for them is really designed for your thinner bottles. And those are going to be mostly your reds, your Cabernets, your Merlots. So a Chardonnay and a Pinot, those bottles are a lot thicker than you'd think, a lot thicker than the rest of the wines that you're going to have. And they have a tough time fitting next to each other, even though it looks like you should be able to have 3 per rack. Not going to happen with a Chardonnay or a Pinot. Otherwise, though, you can use this. You can see we've got some beer in here as well on the cold side. And I believe if this thing was fully maxed out, it would hold close to 40 bottles of wine. So that's pretty much it on wine temperature. And like I said, if you don't have a chiller, you can certainly accomplish what you need to in the fridge. It just takes a little bit of planning. And really, at the end of the day, when it comes to what temperature to drink your wine, the simple answer is, what do you like? You don't have to necessarily go with the tried and true what you might find on the internet, because if you were to look, you're going to find 5, 6 different opinions. So I would recommend you try them out and you drink them at the temperatures that you like. These are just guidelines. Anyway, if you have any questions for me down in the comments, please feel free to ask. And I am Scott from Suburban Somm, and we'll see you on the next video.